With the Zagreb Open just ending, I thought it was a good idea to review it and give my opinions of the biggest takeaways across all styles. I'm not going to go over every weight class, or even most of them. There are a lot of weight classes, and I don't have that much time or desire. If you're wondering why this video feels so low effort compared to my usual content, it's because I wanted to get this video out fairly quick, and if I'm talking fast, it's because I'd like this video not to be super long. I probably failed at both. For this video, I'm going in chronological order of what day the weight classes happened, so if it seems like I'm jumping around a lot, blame UWW. Anyways, starting with the reigning champ at 86 kilos. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, Zahid Valencia looked terrible at Zagreb. Tech followed 11-0 by some guy whose best result is a silver at Worlds at 79 kilos. That match looked bad. It wasn't just an ankle pick into a fluke leg race. Valencia was dominated throughout the whole match, never getting to his offense at all, and couldn't defend very well, and Guillaume Kaladze got in deep. It's insane to think that 5 months ago, Valencia outscored his opponents 49-0 to win Worlds in impossibly dominant fashion, being the most successful wrestler in men's freestyle by a wide margin. Valencia won Worlds like that largely because of his combination of strength and athleticism, allowing him to do things that nobody else at 86 kilos could. But here, he looked like a ghost when he formed himself, and it might just be me, but it looks like he lost muscle since September. Keep in mind, this is following 2 underwhelming performances at RIF, getting nearly tech-phobic Kaizen, then an unconvincing win versus Nate Jackson. My best guess as to what happened is that Valencia got sick in December, lost a good deal of weight and muscle, and thought he was in better form than he was, so he signed over here. I don't know, that's just speculation of the reason. I know he won the bronze, but that's more because the 18-year-old opponent messed up than it was Valencia bouncing back. There's still a long way to go before Worlds, but if he looks like he did here, he'd probably lose to Kadia, Ramazanov, and possibly even Gasenport. Honestly, he might not even win the 86 kilo spot in America. Parker Kikaisen beat Guillaume Kaladze with a recent dominant win over Valencia. He, or perhaps Kyle Dake, will take the 86 kilo spot unless Valencia can get back looking more like the wrestler who tore through the 86 kilo bracket in September than the wrestler he's been ever since. Moving down to 74 kilos. David Carr really impressed me. 3 dominant wins to make it to the finals, then a win over reigning 70 kilo world champion Yoshinosuke Ariake. This wasn't the 74 kilo Ariake that lost to U23s a month after winning Worlds. This was an Ariake that attempted to fully bulk up and acclimatize himself to the weight class. An Ariake who just beat reigning 74 kilo champion Kota Takahashi in December. I mean, you can just see that with how much bigger he looks at 74 kilos versus in October, or even compared to him at 70 kilos in September. Anyways, while it was definitely a boring match, Carr defended well versus Ariake's attacks, and then get punished on Ken's while controlling the mat to go up 2-1 on activity points, at which point Ariake got desperate and Carr had to go behind Duke, making 4-1, giving Carr his first win against a world champion. Given that he wrestled Valley up close, was mere second to beating Sidikov at last year's Worlds, I think he almost certainly medals at Worlds this year. Honestly, maybe this is me being a delusional American, but I think there's a good chance of winning the whole thing, though to a certain extent that depends on the injury status that Valley is now of. 74 kilos is loaded. Moving back up to Olympic weights, this event was also the long-awaited return of Hassan Yazdani. I knew he was moving up from 86 kilos, and I'd heard he was considering 97, but I thought little of them, thought he would move to 92. But I was wrong. Hassan Yazdani showed up at 97 kilos for the ranking series and didn't look great. Physically, he appeared fine, as he had done a good job putting on muscle as opposed to fat, unlike some other wrestlers. And sure, he won his first 2 matches by tech fall, but that was against substandard opposition. In the finals match, though, things went off the rails. For the first period, he looked good, pushing Buchanan around with a signature left underhook, but then the extra weight caught up to him. He had to move around 11 kilos extra compared to his days at 86 kilos, and he got tired. He got slow. He got thrown for 4, and then when he tried to be offensive besides push-outs, Buchanan stopped him, countered him again, until he got the tech fall. Maybe Buchanan really is that guy, but I doubt he beats Snyder for 97 kilos in America, at least in the near future. And if Yazdani gets teched by the US's number 2, then I don't think he'll beat Snyder, Sadulayev, Tassadino, and honestly, I don't think he deserves to win the 97 kilo spot from Mazapira, though he'll probably get it anyway because he's wearing wrestling's golden boy. Unless, of course, he speaks out against Eugene excellent like some of his teammates did anyway. Moving up to the big boys, at least one big boy in particular, Wyatt Hendrickson. There isn't a whole lot to say about Hendrickson, only that he's big and strong and super athletic for 125 kilo, and looks like he's the next big thing at the weight class, rolling and attacking world medals like they're nothing. Unless his opponent is a dog like a counter wrestler that can just look like Shripov. In that case, he loses because his pressure-heavy, hyper-offensive style leaves him wide open to counter weapon. I don't know, maybe Shripov really has leveled up and is a threat for the podium this year, but Zara and Petros really, I think, are still the favorites for the top spot. I just wanted to mention him because it's interesting that of all the wrestlers I'm aware of, he probably is the one who looks like Superman most, but has the clearest to find kryptonite of any of them. Anyways, that's it for the freestyle specific section. I know it's primarily American, but American men's freestyle brought most of their A and B teams opposed to most nations, so they felt more significant. There wasn't as much interesting going on in women's freestyle. Few number ones went to the tournament, and those that did well enough that nothing else interesting really happened. It's hard to take weight class results seriously when you know that none of the best in the world at that weight class showed up. While it's hardly a problem exclusive to women's freestyle, they did have that problem more than men's freestyle and men's Greco. Morikawa moved up from 65 to 68 and looked good, winning her weight class, and Ozaki looked good at 62, winning her weight class, and Ali Morikawa looked good at 50 kilos. We'll talk about the Japanese wrestlers more, but it's probably more likely than it isn't that none of the three champions of the weight class will be at Worlds, potentially losing to Ishii, Motegi, and Suzuki respectively, so I'm not really sure if I care. One wrestler I do want to talk about briefly is Kennedy Blades. I was initially unsure about a move down from 76 kilos to 68 kilos last year, but when she started wrecking ranking stage, I thought she might run the weight class. Then she got ticked by Ishii, and now she lost to Nestor Bass. She didn't look great, spending much of the match tied up by 2-on-1s and bundles while getting stopped on short offense. When she did find some offense, she was having trouble finishing from good positions, and she looked far from the world beater she looked at this tournament last year. She did forfeit out of her bronze medal match due to injury, so maybe injury was why she didn't do as good as she otherwise might have. I'm not sure, but I do know that Blades doesn't look quite as dominant. The other major thing I want to talk about is the Indian women's team. Sure, the men's freestyle did good, but the women's side I think did much better with 7 medals, including a gold at the Olympic weight of 57 kilos. Mind you, I don't think any of them won against world medalists, but that has more to do with how much less stacked this tournament in general was than the men's side, so maybe they didn't do as good as they thought. But them doing as well as they did across so many weight classes is very impressive. Moving on to Greco, and the first person I want to talk about is Osuku of Iran. 77 kilos had some heavy hitters, like multi-time world medalist Robert Frisch, both Levant and Zoltan Dubai, as well as world medalist Alia, and Osuku beat them all, nearly attacking all of his opponents except Frisch, but even there he won comfortably. His offense was on full display with push-outs, takedowns, and big parterre throws against quality opposition. 77 kilos has always been one of the few weak points for Iran Greco, one of only 2 weight classes that didn't medal in the last 2 Worlds. Whether it could be that guy at 77 kilos, it's too early to tell. 77 kilo Greco might be the deepest weight class in international wrestling in general, and many of the best like Amorian, Kusaka, Makhmudov, and Yilmaz weren't there to truly test him. But if he looks like he did here, then he is a tough match for anyone at the weight. Moving down in weight, Koto Gomi looked amazing here. With Fumita being injured, and even if he comes back moving up to 63 kilos for at least this year, Gomi looks like the guy from Japan, and wrestled like a serious stuff at the top of the podium here. He won 9-0 in his first round, scoring with an arm throw, then an arm drag and gut, leading to the quarterfinals. There, he had 2 lightning-fast arm throws and a blast double to win via tech fall. The next match, he showed off more normal offense, 4 spot turning and 4 quick gut wrenches to bury the match round 1. And I think Gomi was good, but reigning world silver medalist Al Shaganiev would shut the one-trick pony down. Nope. Arm throw, weird, arm throw. 9-0 tech fall in the first period against the reigning world silver medalist. 4 matches, 4 tech falls, 3 of them in the first period. Offensively, Gomi is a nightmare to go up against. His arm throw is his best and most devastating offense, but he's shown that he can get you to the mat and gut you for a tech fall. His defense showed no issues here. The only points he gave up were him getting overzealous with arm throws and getting countered, then lose the challenge. Even if his parterre defense is terrible, if he can tech fall his opponents before they get a chance, then it shouldn't matter. And if his showing at Zagreb is any indication, then he has that ability in spades. Jumping from the nearly smallest weight to the very biggest, I'll be the first to admit that when I saw Riza Kayal tested positive for trimethazine prior to the Paris Olympics, I thought he was finished. He wouldn't be eligible to return until the middle of 2028, and he would miss qualification for that year's Olympics. At that point, he would be 40 and nothing left to wrestle for. Kayal even said he was retired, so there was no chance he would come back. So naturally, I was really surprised when I saw the news that Riza Kayal had won a case showing that doping was ear medication or something. Anyway, his doping suspension was commuted down from 4 years to 18 months, meaning the ban period for the violation expired earlier this year, paving the way for a return. In return he did, as he showed up and won dominantly. Besides the final against Colton Schultz, who, mind you, had the best Greco tournament result of his career by a long shot with a win versus reigning silver Darius Field-Tech, Kayal didn't give up even a single point, and only a passivity versus Schultz, and his gut wrenches looked as good as they ever did. 37-year-old Kayal is probably the favorite to win at Worlds to break Crown's record of 12 European golds. Past that for Worlds, I don't really know how he'd do against Mirzadeh. It's too early to make any real conclusions based on this tournament alone. Realistically, the only tournament that this tournament was ever going to answer was, is Riza Kayal washed? The answer to that is a pretty clear no. I had more planned, but this video took longer than I thought it would to make, and I wanted this out before the Muhammad Mallow. Anyways, last thing I want to talk about is the Olympic realignment is already starting to happen. Of the reigning world champions that showed, all but one of the non-Olympic weight class wins moved to Olympic weight classes. Ayagi from 70 kilos to 74, Constantinius from 79 to 86, Kamakano from 63 to 67, and Morikawa from 65 to 68. I didn't even bother to check the medalists, but I can't imagine it much different. Across all the weight classes, the Olympic ones are more people and were deeper competitively. I didn't think people would start moving from their non-Olympic class to Olympic ones till next year at the earliest, but clearly I was wrong. Non-Olympic classes are starting to be drained of their talent, as those that can move to the objectively more important weight classes do, no matter the cost of their results. Such is the prestige of the Olympics, that wrestling and wrestlers bend and warp to advantage even 2 years beforehand. Oh well, wrestling needs the Olympics far more than vice versa, and it could be worse. Speaking of worse, ain't a reminder that the attention of this event is specifically terrible and a bad look for the sport. One might wonder why UWW always has this event be a ranking series when nobody cares, but all you have to do is scroll down to UW.com and realize UWW has other motives than filling seats in mind. Anyways, that's all.